Hello, third graders, and welcome to Lesson 3-7. This is part 1 of Lesson 3-7, and today we are going to be exploring bar graphs. But first, a little mental math and fluency, and we did some problems like this the other day, which has a difference of about 100. About 100. Well, I know that I can do my rounding to the nearest 10 or the nearest 100, so that's always an option. But sometimes I can look at just the first digit in the number. And I have a 1 in the hundreds place and a 4 in the tens place. And I can think, well, that's about 100 minus 50. And 100 minus 50 is 50, so that's not going to work. I can look at the 3 and 362 and the 2 and 258 and think, well, 300 minus 200 is 100, so that's an option. And I'm going to quickly look at my last set of numbers. I've got 329 minus 111. I've got a 3 in the hundreds place and a 1 in the hundreds place. Well, 300 minus 100 is 200. So I'm thinking it's this one right here, but I'm going to check it to verify that I'm correct. So I'm going to round. 362, I'm going to round that to 360. Round it to the nearest 10. 258, I'm going to round that to the nearest 10. That's going to be 260. 360 minus 260 is indeed 100. Which one has a difference of less than 200? Well, when I look here, I have a 5 in the hundreds place and a 1 in the hundreds place. 500 minus 100 is 400. So this one's about 400. Well, that's not less than 200, so I know I can eliminate that one right away. I've got 300 minus 100. Well, that's 200 if I'm just working on the numbers in the hundreds place, so that's an option. When I go over here, I've got an 8 in the hundreds place and a 7 in the hundreds place. And I know that 800 minus 700, well, that's 100. So again, this could be an option, but I'm going to check it to verify. 382, I'm going to round that to the nearest 10, so 390. 113, I'm going to round that to the nearest 10. That's going to be 110. And when I subtract that, 300 minus 100 is 200. Then I've got 90 minus 10. 90 minus 10 is 80. So my estimate for that problem is 280. That is not less than 200. So I'm going to eliminate that one. But I'm going to confirm over here, 899, if I round that to the nearest 10, it's going to be 900. And if I round 782 to the nearest 10, that's going to be 780. And the difference is going to be 120. So this one is less than 200. Which has a difference of more than 300? Well, 400 minus 100 is 300, so that could be an option. 600 minus 100 is 500. Well, that right there is looking like more than 300. 500 minus 400, if I'm just looking at the hundreds place, well, that's only going to be 100. But when I look here, 499 is only one away from 500, so this is out. And let me see. If we round that to 400 and we round this to, I'm just going to take it to 200. That's going to be a difference of only 200. And I want it to be more than 300. So if I round 674, and I'm just going to round this one to the nearest 100, that's going to be 700. And I round 182 to the nearest 100, that's going to be 200. And 700 minus 200 is 500. So here is the problem that has a difference of more than 300. Today, we are going to work on bar graph scale. You have worked on solving bar graph problems before, but the scale has already been done for you in the past. Today, we're going to work on creating the scale ourselves. So, the scale goes here. The scale is what am I going to have my intervals of? Okay, but before we can decide that, we need to look at the problem. So this is about Jasmine. Jasmine kept a record of the number of minutes she did homework each school day. Monday, 45 minutes, Tuesday, 20 minutes, Wednesday, 35 minutes, Thursday, 40 minutes, Friday, 17 minutes. She wants to use the bar graph to show her data. Talk with a partner or mom or dad at home about how Jasmine could set up her graph. What scale could she use for number of minutes? Well, we know that the first one always has to be 0. Okay? But when I look at these numbers, I don't want to go by ones, because if I go by ones, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that would only represent 5 minutes. Well, she read 45 minutes on Monday, so going by ones is not going to be the right scale. Now, what about if I go by twos? So 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Same problem. It's not enough minutes on my scale. So I'm going to get rid of those. What about if I go by fives? Should we try that? So 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Nope. Scale of 5 is not big enough. So that's going to make me think, let's go by tens. So 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. We can use 10 as our scale. Oh, sorry. I apologize for going through those. Let's fill in our bar graph. So on Monday, she read for 45 minutes. Well, when I'm going up, here's 10, there's 20, there's 30, there's 40, but where's 45? Well, what do I know about what's in the middle of 40 and 50? In the middle of 40 and 50 is 45. So this is, I say, just kind of eyeball it about where you think 45 would be. Draw a line, and then neatly shade in your bar graph. And then when I look at this bar graph, I can tell that she read 45 minutes on Monday. Okay, Tuesday, she read 20 minutes. So here's 10, there's 20. Go ahead and mark it and shade it. All right. Wednesday, she read 35 minutes. Well, there's 10, there's 20, there's 30, and then I have 40. She read 35. And because I know about my numbers, I know that 35 is the halfway point between 30 and 40. So again, just gonna kind of eyeball that about where I think 35 would be and shade that in. Sorry, I'm not the neatest on the computer. I'm sure yours looks a lot tidier than this. Thursday, she read the 40 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that. Shade it in. Friday, she read 17 minutes. Well, here's 10, and there's 20. But I know that 15 would be the halfway mark, but that's not 15, that's 17. So I would just go up a little bit more than half. Okay, so go up a little bit more than half, about there, and then shade it in. Okay, so this is telling me that she read more than 10. She read more than 15 because it's a little bit more than 15. Okay, good deal. Now I have this card I want to show you. You're going to work on creating your own scaled bar graph. You're going to need your math journal, page 79, and I have that picture for you. So it's right here. Now I'm going to change the directions because this says to make a bar graph using pattern block shapes. And I know you don't have pattern block shapes at home. So instead, excuse me, what you can do is replace the shape names with different color names. So maybe you could do red. And maybe you could do blue. And so on across the top. And then that means you're going to want to change this red and blue. Okay, and maybe you could just grab some crayons at home, and maybe you have multiple of your crayons and just kind of sort them out. And you can make a bar graph for the number of not pattern blocks, but it would be crayons. Or you could come up with something else. Maybe you could do coins, pennies, nickels, dimes, $50, silver dollar. Or you could do pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, 50-cent pieces, and dollar bills. There's lots of different options. You could find some toys that you could use to make a bar graph with. Okay? Good luck with that. Have fun. And the last thing that I want to show you for this lesson is a game that you can play at home. It's called Shuffle to 100. You can use any deck of cards. You just need numbers. Well, you can use the ace for number 1. And then you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. You need 4 of each. And then you're going to, well, you don't need to have this record sheet. You could just do it on a piece of scratch paper. And this is a game for 2 or 3 people. And the object of the game is to have the lowest score. And you're going to be working on estimating sums and making combinations close to 100. So you're going to take turns being the dealer. The dealer shuffles the cards and deals 5 number cards to each player, number side up. Players think about 2-digit numbers that they can make with their cards. So, for example, if we look over here, Steve is dealt an 8, a 9, a 5, a 7, and a 2. He makes 75 and 28. And he's going to add those together. And 75 plus 28 equals 103. So his score is 3 because the difference between 100 and 3 is 3. Okay? It's kind of a fun game to play. This is something you could play by yourself too if you didn't have somebody at home to play with you. It's just a good way to practice your estimation and practice getting close to 100. Okay? Have fun with that too.